Their chips and their software are probably 10 years ahead. Their thermal management system is the best on the planet. Nobody can make circuit boards like what Tesla did. Nobody can produce electric motors like they do. I mean, they're light years ahead of everyone. Any engineer that looks at a Tesla knows that it's far and away the best designs on the planet.
In this video, we gathered the highlights from an interview that Sandy Munro did. It has been a while since this video was recorded, but anyways, let's begin.
How many years Tesla is ahead in motors
At
of
least,
the competition?
Three or four.
In batteries?
Batteries, six years, maybe 7.
Full self-driving chip or autopilot chip?
Their chips and their software are probably 10 years ahead. The full self-driving, I think that Elon Musk is going to probably surprise the planet, and before year end, he'll say, I've got it. I don't know how, but it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with full self-driving before year end. Everybody else is saying 4 to 6 years. So
thermal management system?
Their thermal management system is the best on the planet, and I think it's going to take at least another production line. So that would be at least 4 years ahead of everyone else.
Wiring?
They're going to split that into two. As far as low voltage wiring, they're the same. There's no advantage. High voltage wiring and the system that they've used, that's probably another 4 years ahead of everybody else.
The underbody now with the rear mirror casting?
10 years. It'll take 10 years for No one's going to be jumping into that.
And their operating system?
It's hard to separate operating systems because Tesla does a lot of incorporate. They bring several systems and put them into one. No one else has that at all. Zero people have that. So I guess I would say it's probably around 5 years. Yeah.
We already know that Tesla is so far ahead of anyone, but I didn't expect it to be this far. 4 years ahead for anyone to catch up. Meaning if they stop the research and development right now, it will take a so-called competition 4 years to reach what Tesla already have right now. And this is just the engine. We're not talking about the other parts, like the battery, which will take them more than 7 years.
And I think you said to Gali that before buying Tesla stock, you had never ever bought one company single stock. Is it right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And why did you decide to do an exception in your financial and buy Tesla stock?
When we tore apart the Model 3 and we got past the ugly parts, like the doors didn't fit and the paint was terrible, on and on and on. Once I got past that and started looking at the technology, and we know where everyone is. I mean, you only see a small fraction of the cars that we actually tear apart because people pay us quite a bit of money to tear a car apart, assess it, analyze it, cost it, and then come up with redesigns. So that basically allows us to know exactly what's inside of every vehicle that's in the marketplace if we want, or at least the most advanced vehicles. And looking at what Tesla had versus everyone else, to me, this was a no-brainer. Anybody can fix a panel. Anybody can fix paint. Anybody can make gaps in a car better. Nobody can make circuit boards like what Tesla did. Nobody can produce electric motors like they do. I mean, they're light years ahead of everyone. Well, at least a dozen years ahead of everyone. So, to me, as an engineer, it was any engineer that looks at a Tesla knows that it's far and away the best designs on the planet.
I think this is really cool to hear. The first stock that Sandy Munro has ever bought was Tesla. Like the first ever. Let that sink in. And he didn't do that without having certain proofs that Tesla, the company, is way so far ahead. But in my opinion, he knows some stuff that are far deeper than this. And I think he's hiding it from us.
The thing that really blew my mind the most, and it still does, is their circuit board designs. They are, without a question of a doubt, elegant. They're very complicated, but they're simple in construction. Many things are combined into one board, They take full advantage of multifunctional thinking. It's very difficult for me to get beyond the electronics, the simplicity of their electronics. That's probably number one. Close on the heels would be the cooling, the octo valve, the cooling system, and that's for basically a different reason. I mean, I could sit around if I had enough time and maybe design something that would be similar to it. But when I look at how they, like the depth that you have to go into in order to make that happen, I'd have to know almost everything else about the car.
Don't you feel sometimes that Elon brought Tesla's engineers from another planet?
So their systems engineering people, I don't know how they work it there at Tesla, but their systems engineering people are obviously the same guys that are connected to the electric motor, because the motor, in essence, has to have, it has the capability for heating a car. I don't know if you knew that. You stall the motor and it creates heat. So, but all these different systems have peculiar or particular needs and wants. In order to make the octo valve system work, you have to have communication extraordinaire. You can't possibly do this in isolation. And so the second thing that I would say is the electronics designs first, but right after that is the environmental control systems. And the reason for that is because of the teamwork they must have in that company in order to generate an elegant small design that basically suits the purpose of everybody and everybody that's associated with a car. So that conductivity for something that has to go everywhere in a car, it's like what you're looking at there is the system that runs the whole car. Without that, nothing else is going to go. I don't care how good your battery is or your motor or anything else. Your system, if that thing fails, everything goes down. It's like your heart and the system that runs your body, that runs the fluid that gets to your brain or your elbow. Everything has to be fed, and your heart is the thing that does it. So, to me, the heating and cooling system is the number one.
After the chipboard,
the number one best team effort I've ever seen. Period.
In conclusion to all of this, Sandy makes a video explaining how Tesla is lying to us.